What's up, dudes? It's a trainerist Q&A. A lot of guys were complaining last week that I was a little bit agitated at the beginning of the Vigorous Q&A. So we're going to call this a trainerist Q&A. And if you get an answer that you don't like, then it's because I'm on the Tremboloni sandwich. Actually, I'll try to behave this Vigorous Q&A. So let's get started with a couple updates. We did the Chase Aaron's Roid Rage podcast or live stream will be after this one in about 2 hours from now. I might close it off after 2 hours because I got to wake up early tomorrow. Get a lot of dinner dates and lunch dates with my wife. So we're probably going to wrap it up after 2 hours. And then please head over to Chase Aaron's Roid Rage, where he's going to discuss his Ngenla growth hormone experiment results. We did the Eric Janicki podcast. It's already live on my YouTube channel. Direct link down below. That was great. And then yesterday I recorded about 3 segments about particular subjects for his YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed to the Eric Janicki, the fitness YouTube channel, please do that so you get those videos as soon as they drop. We did the SLUPP332 deep dive already live. Great response to that. Good response on the Instagram Reels as well. I just posted one about the ultimate SLUPP332 fat burner stack, in case you haven't watched it. The Mirabegron deep dive is pretty much done. I just have to experiment with clenbuterol plus Mirabegron together. So last week I stopped the Mirabegron. I switched to clenbuterol. Holy heart palpitations. And the next week I'll have to combine Mirabegron with clenbuterol at the same time to see if that's even feasible, and then compare that to albuterol, and then I can start recording, because it will be a Mirabegron versus clenbuterol versus albuterol / salbutamol deep dive, but we'll mostly focusing on the Mirabegron. I mean, everybody's familiar with clen and salbutamol. Muscle Nomads I'll record on Monday, probably goes live right on Monday. Or me and Aaron are going to discuss our upcoming Las Vegas plans and just shoot the shit for about 1.5 hours. And then we'll do the lifestyle video series about the basics. Yeah, because a lot of you guys are suffering from issues that you shouldn't be suffering from. And every time I talk about the lifestyle here on the Vigorous Q&A, it seems that some of you guys, it goes right over your head. So I recorded a 40-minute video about training and fasted cardio. And it will probably get no views and no likes, but I don't really care. At least I put in my 2 cents and give you my rant and my opinion on what things you need to put in place that are mandatory before you start dabbling with performance-enhancing drugs. And then maybe some of you gals will take something away from that and mitigate some of the side effects that you're experiencing from PEDs, which shouldn't be happening in the first place. All right. Where are we? 100 viewers. We have a lot of member questions, and I see that some guys drop like 5 to 8 questions at the same time. So I answered about half of the questions that were posted in the community segment, right? The private little chat that we have going where you can get your questions in, because there were like 35 posts, and that's way too much to get into. So I answered about half. The other half we're going to do live here on the Vigorous Q&A or the Trainers Q&A. But if I see people just spam posting like 5 to 7 to 8 questions at a time, then I'm going to have to increase the membership price, because it's getting a little bit obscene. Otherwise I'll be answering single person's questions for like 30 minutes at a time. And that's what the consultations are for. So let's get started with Carlos H. Here we go. I've been doing daily fasted cardio without any real understanding of how long and how often it should be done daily, but at least 5 times per week. And the ideal duration is 20 to 30 minutes. And after that, you might get some diminishing returns, which I'll explain in the lifestyle video dropping next week. Just want to improve lipid parameters and insulin sensitivity while bulking. What do you recommend? 20 minutes in the morning, fasted states, at least 5 times per week to improve your insulin sensitivity and lipid parameters. But if you can do 20 to 30 minutes every single day of the week, that would be best. Zone 2, Zone 3 cardio. So for me, my heart rate is about 125 to 135 beats per minute. I can still hold a conversation, but I'm also sweating slightly. Might have a fan blowing on my back, and I do cardio shirtless because I do cardio in my own house. So 20 to 30 minutes for improved lipids and insulin sensitivity. IQB, my cousin, 50 years old, TRT plus, 300 test, 300 primo. That's a hefty TRT plus protocol for 50-year-olds. Needs to drop about 30 pounds of fat. GLP-1s had side effects. Alternate days fasting works well for him. Want your advice on how to do it while preventing muscle loss. So Alternate day fasting is probably not a good idea. I would just take his caloric intake for 1 day and then split it out over 2, mostly coming from protein and fats, following a ketogenic diet. And then again, I just watched the SLUPP332 deep dive. I mean, it seems to initiate fat loss for most people, even though it's a little bit expensive. You can use the discount codes that I have on offer or Dr. Dean has on offer for our various affiliates. And save some money that way. I mean, if GLP-1s have terrible side effects, maybe lower the dose or look into another GLP-1, right? On Tren or Testosterone or Primo, you should be able to easily drop fat. It's just about caloric management and cardio. So it's not rocket science. I'm sure you can figure it out. Now, he usually eats about 150 to 200 grams of protein per day when maintaining. Any guidance on what he should be doing specifically on the fasting day? You can't fast every other day. I don't think that's a good idea. So I would eat 150 to 200 grams of protein per day and then keep the fats somewhat moderate, let's say 75 grams per day, and the carbs low and fill up the void with vegetables. Dieting sucks, man. Get used to it. Patrick Zamoka asks, hello, coach. I get tired after a propionate injection, 20 milligrams every day, both subcutaneous and intramuscular. Tested different brands. Even testosterone gel cream had the same effect after about 3 hours of application. Why? Estradiol is in the middle of the range. Well, if you try different brands, then I'm assuming it's not the carrier oil. And if you already tried testosterone cream, then it's also not the carrier oil. So I'm going to forego any kind of potential allergic response from the carrier oil, right? An inflammatory response. Maybe you need to switch to enanthate. Maybe too much metabolizes into active testosterone, and that's making you tired. So most people would get energetic though, right? It's maybe it's just uniquely to you. So why don't you switch to 20 milligrams enanthate or 25 milligrams enanthate per day? Sorry. You do subcutaneous microadministrations. You let your serum levels come up slower, and then maybe you don't get a response like that. Right? There's many different esters you can try. And maybe a long-acting ester like enanthate, cypionate, or decanoate is the one to go with. John Furious, for speed power athlete to raise testosterone levels and hit the highest reference range for 1 month to go through the toughest training period of prep. Would it be better to go for hCG monotherapy or TRT with testosterone propionate? Goals, overall performance, and to have the quickest HPTA recovery. I would, in this case, I would go with hCG monotherapy, 1,000 IUs 3 times per week. That will bring you to the highest reference range or slightly superphysiological, depending on where your testosterone levels are at. And since hCG metabolizes, the detection time is about 2 weeks, but serum levels tend to drop after about a week of the last injection, you should be able to start your PCT 1 to 2 weeks after the last shot of hCG because testosterone and estradiol levels are bottomed out and you don't have a negative feedback of the exogenous testosterone and estradiol, which was previously superphysiological. So if you only need it for a month, hCG monotherapy is the way to go. James, can I use Tren 50 milligrams per workout only? Yeah, go for it, man. You can use it twice a week, 1 time a week, 5 times a week. I'm okay with that. Maybe 30 milligrams, well, depending on your muscular development and your training intensity. All right, get ready for a flood of member questions. The Dre Masker asks, hey, Uncle Steve, I had a cystatin C of 1.13. That's a little bit elevated. On 70 milligrams Tren ACE every other day 2 weeks ago and did what you told me, got it down to 20 milligrams every other day, tested again a week later, back to 112. Reference range is, well, it's elevated. Got back on TRT. It's always been between 0.77 and 0.88. I have an appointment with a nephrologist. My question is, did you ever see this happen before, that it goes that high and then back? Blood work, just how many posts is this? Blood work was always fine on the blast. Blood pressure never above 130 to 70. What was the highest after training and stimulus? Is Tren like my nemesis, even in a lower dose, thanks to the advance? Yeah, Trenbolone and some other steroids might be able to increase cystatin C levels, just like thyroid hormones are known to increase cystatin C levels. So if you take thyroid hormones or Trenbolone, or maybe your overall load of androgens was just high alongside of the 70 milligrams Trenbolone acetate every other day, maybe it's just too much. Maybe this is your first sign that you need to come off cycle and do a little bit of a detox and give it some time. So what I would do is a 24-hour urine collection test where you compare your serum creatinine to your urinary creatinine. If you can measure your cystatin C from serum to your urine as well, and then get an actual glomerular filtration rate, so not the E, which stands for estimate. eGFR is estimated glomerular filtration rate. If you got a true GFR, that's just GFR without the E, that's based on the difference between creatinine of your urine and blood. Same for cystatin C. You can test that also. And if it's off then, which I find highly unlikely, if it's off then do an ultrasound on your kidneys, see what's going on. But take it easy. It's probably going to come down as soon as you take the Trembolone out, but that has to metabolize, and it might take 5 weeks before everything normalizes. Make sure you stay on top of your astragalus root extract to lower inflammation around the kidneys and improve your glomerular filtration rate. Jay Rodino asks, hey Steve, I want 3,000 IOs hCG 3 times per week. Wow. Balls must be on fire. 75 IOs FSH 3 times a week for fertility. Both my total and modal sperm count went down after 90 days of this protocol. What do you think could be the cost? Thank you. It could be that you're in a lot of oxidative stress, or that the dose is simply too high. Now, 3,000 IOs hCG from urine purified sources might end up being 500 IOs hCG from purified sources, because urine purified hCG right now is just complete trash. That's why we go with Ovitrel. Unfortunately, AP has been sold out of Ovitrel for a while. I get my Ovitrel now on prescription here in Thailand through the fertility clinic that I've been working with, so thank God for that. But, you know, maybe you just need to source a different hCG and go with that. But 75 IOs 3 times per week of FSH, that should improve your sperm count, motility, morphology, etc. Maybe you need to do a testicular ultrasound to see if there are structural issues. You know, maybe that you have a varicocele or a hydrocell, whatever. And maybe you're not on top of your antioxidants, right? We have ubiquinol, we have injectable glutathione, we have vitamin C, taurine, selenium, zinc, man, everything for testicular function, which I mentioned so many times in the fertility and semen videos. So let me link one of those down below. Vigorous loads. You clicked on this video. Let's see. Let me link it down below. And that is basically an entire supplement protocol to give you monstrous loads and fertility parameters. Let's see. Oh. And again, if you're using steroids alongside of it, then it might not work after all. So do some ultrasound and then take the supplements and give it another 90 days to 120 days, 4 months on recombinant hCG and recombinant FSH. Downsize asks, are there suppressive effects of SHBG and estradiol similar for Primo and EQ? Dose for dose, might be slight discrepancies because methanol and the enanthate ester comprises less of the what you're injecting than boldenone and destinate. So you get more milligrams of net methanol and primobolan compared to net equipoise, boldenone. So you might get less of a suppressive effect with boldenone because you inject less, technically, if both are 300 milligrams per week, for example. But it's probably very similar. Yeah. So if you're wondering if your Primo is real and you suspect that it's AQ, but you don't know based on your SHBG and estradiol levels, send it in for lab testing. All right, we have Janoschik to test it for you. Downsize also asks, how do you know if your Thai girl is legit girlfriend material? Well, she has an education. She makes her own money. She's well-traveled. And she's not jealous. This is the golden rule. And she's not clingy. If she's not jealous and not clingy, then it might work. But if she's jealous and clingy, within 3 months, you're pulling your hair out. I mean, if I had hair to pull out back in the day when I was single dating Thai girls, I would. But when I met my wife, she was well-traveled. She made her own money. Right? She made like $3,000 a month or something, so she didn't need my money. Never jealous, never clingy. She let me do whatever the fuck I wanted. If I wanted to go out with friends, I could go out with friends. If I wanted to go to the gym, I could go to the gym, whether that was at the same time as her or not. Right? And she had a good education. So I think if you have those 5 basics covered, Good luck finding, wherever you are, those 5 basics covered anywhere in the world. And then obviously you need to have those 5 basics covered also, because if you're jealous, you don't have an education, you don't make any money, you've only been to Thailand in your home city where you grew up, and well, the other one, then obviously it's not going to work, right? Whatever you bring to the table, you should be able to get in a Thai girlfriend. But if you're, you're how do you say this? You've been around, right? You did something with your life, then it's going to be hard to find that here in Thailand, because it's a third world country and Thai women don't have so much opportunities as men have in the Western world. So it took me 10 years before I found my wife. And when I met her, I knew within a couple of weeks that this was going to be the one. Because I sampled plenty beforehand. And that never lasted more than a couple of days. It's, it's like they're waving their own red flags. It's like, look at all these red flags that I carry. And they're not in a tour company shuttling all the Chinese tourists around. Maximal asks, hey Steve, I'm on the Lazy Man's TRT Plus protocol, 1 bear testosterone and a 8 ampule per week, 1 tablet of Romsin. I was checking Estradiol and it's only 16.7. Lately I had a lot of pain in my backbones. Could this be the factor? Yeah, it could be. So maybe you need a half a tablet of Romsin, because that's pretty low. And if your Estradiol is like below 25, then you might already get sore joints and sore back and, the dry skin, hair loss, etc. Innovative fitness products as, hey Steve, will the usage of IGF-1 LR3 tend to shut down endogenous growth hormone release? Could be. Yeah, could be. I mean, I think the pituitary recognizes that as bioidentical IGF-1, and since IGF-1 LR3 levels, on some blood work it detects, on other blood work it doesn't, so it really depends on the lab. Yeah, so it might blunt growth hormone release, but if you're injecting IGF-1 LR3, then you probably also inject growth hormone, because IGF-1 LR3 is like what, $50, $70 per 1 milligram vial, and how long is it going to last? A week? 5 injections? So you can also run growth hormone alongside of that if you have that much disposable income to spend, and then your growth hormone is definitely depleted, or endogenous growth hormone will definitely not be substantially high, because your IGF-1 levels from the exogenous growth hormone is also elevated. Should growth hormone always be taken with IGF-1 R3? Yeah, I think they work well in synergy. At what dosage do you think you have to be concerned about internal organ growth, acromegaly? Thanks. Well, I mean, when you look at the clinical dose of IGF-1, it's, what was it? It goes up to like 4 milligrams or something for a bodybuilder. So I think if you take 200 micrograms, 500 micrograms, maybe even 1 milligram a couple times a week, you don't really have to worry about organ growth. But of course, on IGF-1, everything kind of hypertrophies and starts to retain water. This is why usually we take the growth hormone out and the IGF-1 out 2 weeks before a contest, so the stomach can kind of shrink down. I mean, we saw it with Chase Irons, for example. He was on 89 years of growth hormone. He got a little bit of a distended waist, and then he came off, and his waist shrunk in. Right? It's not organ growth; it's just water retention. And of course, a lot of food. So when you go from 4,000 calories to 2,500 calories, as an example, your stomach will shrink also. And my waist is increased as well. Well, I just measured it yesterday with this thing. This thing that I showed you guys, this awesome measuring thing. I did an integrated ad. Yes, Uncle Steve's got to make some money. Actually, no, but I did some product placement in a video. And my waist is 32 inches, baby. Hell yeah. 32 inches. And that's on 10 IUs of growth hormone. On 1 ampule bare testosterone, 1,000 IUs, hCG 9 months. Blood work good, no sides. Testosterone 2,000. Okay, good to hear. DHT 1,000, a little bit elevated. No problem there, unless you're worried about hair loss. PCT'd now, post-psychotherapy now, restart May 2025. Man, that's a long time from now. Ooh. Or continue. How much worse is PCT after 1 to 2 years versus 1? Is 1 ampule safe long term? I mean, people use that for TRT long term. So it depends on what you want, man. I can't make that decision for you. But if I was in your position after having undergone, 3 or 4 PCTs in my life, I'd rather stay and test, dude. I'd rather stay and test. But I would stay on 150 milligrams of test and 500 IUs hCG 3 times per week. Yeah, not 1 amp a test. And bring the dose down a little bit. Respect how you feel on cycle, because if you go to 150 tests and 500 IOs hCG, your serum testosterone levels will be what, 1,000, 1,200, maybe 1,500 nanograms per deciliter. It's not the end of the world. But if you do PCT, you'll be 600, 400. And that sucks. Take it from me. Yeah. Maurice asks, libido good, mood concentration never really improved on TRT. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe you should watch the Entrepreneur Nootropic Deep Dive video series. Then mood and concentration will definitely improve. Throw in some methylene blue for good measure. My mood and concentration on fire. 250 test thousand IOs, yes, you just mentioned that. The natural testosterone 800, okay? So if you PCT, you probably come back to 700, 800 over time, but you'll have a dip at 200 to 400 for a while. The only difference I noticed was more muscle hardness and easier to gain muscle even when not training. Is that normal? Yeah, some people don't notice that their mood and concentration improved or their libido improved. Maybe you gave yourself a zinc and magnesium deficiency, right? Because you didn't supplement with that. Micronutrient requirement goes up when you start taking testosterone, because a lot of your nutrients are now being shuttled to muscle tissue because you're training harder and you're obviously building muscle. So it's not you go on TRT and the magic happens. We have a honeymoon period, and then you need to really start focusing on your nutrition and your micronutrient intake, which I always mention here on this YouTube channel. And maybe your estrogen wasn't good, maybe your DHEA levels were too low. Let me plug the TRT or first cycle video series, so you know what to look out for, because it's not just about injecting testosterone and hCG. Maybe you need DHEA, maybe you need pregnenolone. Unfortunately, it gets complicated fast. So maybe next time you can design it a little bit better. And then mood, libido, and concentration will improve. But then, of course, you're spending more money also, which is, part of the game. And your mood, and you might notice that your mood, libido, and concentration will come down if you do a post-cycle therapy. You're like, oh, I didn't remember that actually my mood and libido and concentration did improve, but it was so slow and gradual that I didn't notice it. And now that I did a PCT, I'm miserable. All right? Get ready for the roller coaster. Lucas asked, on testosterone annotated 125 milligrams per week, 500 IOs hCG 3 times per week, total testosterone 22, seems a bit low, so that's in nanomoles per liter, I'm assuming. Thinking of adding testo gel until the next doctor consultation for 6 weeks. How long for testosterone to drop back to current range after starting testosterone gel? I think I'm not too familiar with testosterone creams and gels. I would say 1 week. Based on testosterone suspension clearance time. So, maybe run it for 2 to 3 weeks and stop it 1 to 2 weeks before the doctor's appointment. And then show them that your testosterone annotate needs to be bumped up. And again, double check the quality of your hCG by checking your beta hCG levels next time you do blood work, because urine purified hCG right now is just absolute garbage. Kratos, I've been on 10 IUs growth hormone pre-beta. My IGF-1 levels is 157. Okay, that's not very high, but it happens. About 9 hours later, total testosterone 2000, estradiol 167. Wow. IGF-1 should definitely be a lot higher on that. I think the GH is bunk. How should I test it? Okay, 10 IUs intramuscularly, 2.5 hours before drawing blood, and then check your serum growth hormone levels, because some guys just don't have elevated IGF-1 levels. My IGF-1 levels aren't high unless I take Increlex or 10 IUs of growth hormone. In that case, my serum growth hormone or serum IGF-1 levels are about, 300, 350, 400, including the Increlex. And with Chase, as you'll discuss in about 1.5 hours, I think his IGF-1 went from 80 to 150 on what, an equivalent of, 12, 18 IUs, but in gel now, so there's a little bit of calculation discrepancy there. And your estrogen definitely need to bring that down. So take an aromatase inhibitor, because that sounds way too high to me. Hyperborean Engineer asks, if Mike Israetel consulted you, could he achieve a pro card? Maybe. Maybe he has my number, or he has my Instagram. He uses underground lab compounds, infrequent blood work, and diet is very little micronutrients from what he's posted. Yeah, I mean, I'll meet him and Jared Feather, but Jared Feather got him in the best shape of his life. So, I saw that Mike Israetel is eating a little bit unfavorably in my opinion. But like when you have 2 million subscribers, you're probably not going to listen to anybody. I don't listen to anybody either. I'm stubborn as fuck, but I don't compete. So if he wants to compete again, and if he wants to talk with me, I'm happy to help. Just like I'm helping whoever wants my advice on the Mr. Olympia stage this year, and those guys are looking fire. Yeah, but those guys are willing to put in the work with the nutrition and the blood work as well. So maybe that's a difference. And using underground compounds, I'm using underground labs myself right now, and it's what I'm using right now is absolutely great quality. So you can get the job done with good underground labs, but you just have to find them. And how long this brand will stay good, I'm not entirely sure. But for now, it's absolutely great. And I haven't touched underground labs this good, man, since I ordered from one of the source boards from the GH15 boardings. Yeah, that was good shit. And then I used some underground labs here in Thailand, and after a while I gave up. So this is the first UGL in Thailand that I actually enjoy taking and get good results from. Hyperborean engineer asks, how are you measuring SLU-PP332 dosages, dissolving an unknown volume of water, measuring volumetrically, then mix it in a drink? Well, so Anabolics Anonymous, it has 100 micrograms per 1 milliliter, so you take 2 milliliters per serving, right? 1, 2, 3 times per day, 200 micrograms to 600 micrograms. BL, the one that Dr. Dean reps, is 200 micrograms or 100 micrograms per capsule, so that's easy. And if you're going to compound it yourself, then I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm sure you can figure out a way to mix it in some sterile water or bacteriostatic water, and then shake it up and use a dropper, right? And then get 100 micrograms for 1 milliliter concentration. But off the top of my head, I wouldn't really know. So figure it out. Dubster Buster asks, hey Steve, according to studies, Winstrol has benefits for skin and skin conditioning, such as collagen synthesis. I'm considering taking 5 to 10 milligrams daily for skin improvement. Please share all your experience and knowledge on the subject. All right, let's not waste an hour. Just wait on the Winstrol deep dive, which eventually will get made. I already have 2 pages of notes, which I found in the research for other compounds. But yeah, it improves skin collagen synthesis, and as you can see from my skin, it's kind of nice. So 50 milligrams Winstrol per week. So that will be a similar dose as you plan to run, but don't expect too much. Don't expect too much skin improvement on 5 to 10 milligrams per day, because my skin didn't improve that much. And it's not like my edema went away from the growth hormone, this is why I wanted to add in the Winstrol 50 milligrams per week to see if it could help with the angioedema that was being induced by the growth hormone. Now, when the growth hormone comes out, maybe I'll end up looking super shredded because the Winstrol will continue. And it can also make your joints brittle. I mean, I feel a little bit compromised during some exercises. I did stiff leg deadlifts a day, 70 kilo dumbbells. I know, felt risky. So just wait for the Winstrol deep dive. I will discuss it there. And otherwise, watch the How to Thin the Skin video, because that's pretty in-depth also. And I go over Winstrol in that video too. I'll link it down below. Make sure you keep track of your lipids. I'm sure my lipids are absolutely terrible right now. Just how much more of this is there? There's too many member questions. I might have to increase the membership or limit you guys to 1 or 2 questions per time, because this is getting a little bit too much now. Because I'm sitting here for 30 minutes and I'd still keep going. This is just half of what was posted. James B asks, have you known anyone to use neck training, such as what combat athletes do to address neck pain? I think my neck should be a lot thicker from a visual point of view. Well, go for it. Go for it, man. If you want to train your neck, go for it. I personally don't do it, so I can't recommend any exercises. I've seen guys train their neck, like this in the, and don't get nasty with me, in the hamstring curl, right? Or you get one of those harnesses, you go left and right or whatever you want. But I don't know. It might be risky, but I haven't looked into it. So if you want to go ahead, do some research and go for it. Maurice asks, I remember you said you did 2 post-cycle therapies, one lately and one after your 8 months, first 8 months on gear. It was, I think, 4.5 months. In hindsight, would you have performed to skip the first PCT and do a cruise instead? No, because I traveled. So I did my first cycle because I lost my job in the economic crisis of 2008 and 9. And then I expected that the lawsuits were going to take about 6 months. So I was like, you know what? After lawsuits are done, I'm going to travel, which the lawsuits finished like 5 days before my flight was scheduled. So that was great. And then I did a cycle in between because I met so many people that travel the world. And then after that, your perspective kind of changed. So I figured, you know what? I think it's time to potentially close off this chapter of my life of 11 years natural bodybuilding with a proper cycle. And then I did a post-cycle therapy because I knew I wouldn't be injecting, traveling through Thailand and Southeast Asia and China and Mongolia and all the places that I visited. So, no, in hindsight, I would have still done it the exact same way. I don't regret anything. I had a great time on holiday and a great time on my first cycle. But the second time I did a PCT was for the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, so I was forced to come off a cycle. And then the third time was to get my wife pregnant, right? So my fertility parameters shot back beautifully. So I don't regret any PCTs, but I did have an 8-year or 9-year blasting and cruising phase, which I also don't regret. I will go on TRT after the Olympia. Yeah, until, I don't know, April or something. I'm 110 kilos. Too bad. Too big. Look at this shit. Hairy too. What the hell, man? What the hell's this? It's coming off the bone. Hairy too. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's enough. Can't even fucking get my socks on. Basic Up asks, getting ready to pull the trigger on a first series organ imaging. Different companies offer different body scans. Can you list all tests you would do, organ tests, for your first one? No obvious issues to make sure that you're good. You have a reference base for future test, MRI, CT, ultrasound available. I would do a full body ultrasound, so that's on your abdomen, your thyroid, your testicles. And then you can do a full body MRI. You can do the full body MRI with Pronuvo. I mean, Chase Irons has a $300 discount code if you live in the United States. You can do the full body MRI with Pronuvo. And that seems to be 1.5 Tesla with AI upscaling. That's not aromatase inhibitor, but artificial intelligence. And that should give you a good insight on what's going on. So you either do the MRI or an ultrasound. I just did an ultrasound on all of my organs, and it all came back normal with the normal parameters. I did an echo in the heart. That's also advised. And take it from there. Gabriel asks, just started hCG monotherapy, 250 hours 3 times per week. How long should I stay on this dose? And the way to notice the effects of the hCG before increasing the dose, 2 weeks. That's usually enough to notice a difference. Maximal asks, hey Steve, last week you told me to check the following blood work markers due to me being out of breath quickly. Here are my results. Hematocrit 46%, Estradiol 16.7, serum electrolytes all in normal range. Blood pressure was good. I thought checking iron was a good idea, so I checked that. Iron 90s, that's middle. Total iron binding capacity, a little bit on the low side. I wish I could afford you privately. Yeah, I might have to increase these rates. Guess how many consultations I did this week. So check your inflammatory markers. See if you're out of breath from systemic inflammation. So it's a shame you didn't check your ferritin levels or high sensitivity C-reactive protein. And of course your hemoglobin you didn't check, or maybe you did check it. But hematocrit seems normal. Estradiol is on the low side. So again, maybe you just need to do cardio more often. Or maybe you have sleep apnea, or maybe you have underdiagnosed asthma. I mean, on your blood work, I don't really see what's going on, but there could be a million different things that are off. Maybe you're allergic to something. Maybe you have like inflammatory state from food that you're eating, processed foods. I mean, I didn't feel good when I was in the US eating whatever I could find. So, that's why we have an Airbnb this time, so I can cook all my own meals. There could be a lot of things wrong, man. I don't see it in your blood work. But keep plugging away until you figure it out. D-Brad, growth hormone the last 3 months, but it's still... What? I'm already living the lifestyle doing cardio. Any suggestions? What? I'm missing something here. Growth hormone for the last 3 months, but it's still high. Where's the rest? All right, I'm going to skip over this question because we have plenty. Got blood work done. Bilirubin were high, 30 micromoles per liter. Liver enzymes were in range. This is a concern starting 2,000 milligrams NAC, 500 milligrams TUDCA every single day. I would look into calcium deglucarate and casein, hydrolyzed casein, or caseinate. Calcium deglucarate and caseinate prevent glucuronidase recycling in the intestinal tract, and that will bring bilirubin down, because otherwise glucuronidase will kind of metabolize the conjugates from the bilirubin, and then it gets reabsorbed. So that's why it's high. I'm not entirely sure if this is out of range, but you say that it's high because off the top of my head, I don't remember the bilirubin reference range in micromoles per liter. If you say that it's high, I'm assuming it's out of the reference range, and you need to go on 2,000 milligrams calcium deglucarate and maybe 30 grams of casein. Man, what is it called? Caseinate. Micellar casein, sorry. Micellar casein. So the reason why sometimes you have kids, babies, they have very high bilirubin levels, and it's because the bilirubin gets recycled because they don't take enough casein from the mother's milk. And that's why you need to supplement with casein, because it has glucuronidase inhibitors. And we use this to beat the drug test to prevent the glucuronidase recycling. Used to, back in the past. How to prevent shin splints. One of your video, you mentioned taurine supplementation. What dose would you recommend? 5,000 milligrams per day, 1,000 milligrams with meals. And what are the other supplements, drugs, and best practices you have? Actually, you should just watch that video again. It's called Lower Back Pumps. I explain everything there. All methods to fix excruciating back pump. Sorry that I'm so short, but there's a million questions that I need to go to, so please watch that video. I already have a topic on that. JSB, it's that time again. Let's go. Is there any benefits of spacing omega-3s throughout the day or having it all at once? I spaced it out over the day because how much can you absorb in a single serving? I take 5 grams pre-bed, and most other antioxidants, growth hormone pre-bed. I take 800 micrograms omega-3 fish oil from Gorilla Mind every single meal. Or is it a gram? I think it's a gram. Let me link it down below. Gorilla Mind is an excellent fish oil right now. So I've been using that instead of the California and Gold Nutrition that I've been plugging. Fish. Oh, it's not in here. Let me get you an affiliate link, bro. Omega-3 Elixir. So this has... per 2 capsules, so you just take one. One capsule has, let's say, 1,100 milligrams omega-3s, 625 milligrams EPA, and 415 milligrams DHEA, and 65 other omega-3 fatty acids. So you take one capsule of omega-3 elixir, or Gorilla omega-3 elixir with every meal. And then you get in, 5 grams, assuming you eat 5 meals per day. You get 5 grams in per day as well. But I have a serving with every meal. Training and fasted cardio. All right, how far are we behind? 40 minutes. Great. Love the idea of living the lifestyle video. Yeah, well, let's see. I expect no views. I'm still going to make them, though. Besides save money, any benefits 5 days on, 2 days off growth hormone? No. Usually doing 40 minutes of fasted cardio. All right, Octavian gets it. Henry Pham, as test dosage goes beyond, let's say, TRT levels, what blood work markers should people look out for? For example, red blood cell count, hematocrit, hemoglobin, lipids, liver enzymes, kidney function. I have a very extensive list on my website about all the markers you should be checking. Let me link it down below. All right. That's linked. It's actually the referral Q&A. Joseph, all right, super sticker, $4. Here's the question. Gardening and running hCG 3 times a week, plus 20 milligrams Anavar on week 8. Just got blood work back. Estradiol up from 17 to 30, just over the reference range. Do I need to change anything to keep estradiol down? No, I think an estradiol of 30 is totally fine if you're doing the hCG monotherapy plus Anavar protocol. Hopefully your testosterone is a little bit higher than before as well. Keep going, man, even though I wouldn't do this. hCG and Anavar, but you're probably looking for a 3-week clearance time. So in that case, then, well, you got to reinvent the wheel, right? Medieval engineer fellows pay the extra for liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry, or tandem mass spectrometry, estradiol testing if you're taking any Tren. Can you confirm that Tren detects as estradiol 223 picograms per milliliter non-sensitive, 22 picograms per milliliter with mass spectrometry, same blood draw. Yeah. It's I remember when I did Tren like a couple of months ago, right? Then I checked my estradiol. I'm like, holy moly, it's like 170. Oh wait, I'm on Tren. Duh. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have liquid chromatography time, the mass spectrometry sensitive testing here in Thailand. So I got to do with, what is it, ECLIA or CMIA? And the results are seriously missing in action. Armager, it's Steve. I'm going to be in and out of the stream. Got some shit to do, but I'll try to moderate. Yeah, do your best. Kill those trolls. I do daily 20 minutes cardio, 140 to 150 beats per minute before lifting, not fasted. Would you say that is not sufficient? I think that's okay, but fasted cardio would be better. As I'll explain in the video, all the benefits of fasted cardio every day. Hey, Steve, I ordered Overtrol from our Turkish friend again. It's on the way currently. Okay, run that and then keep us posted on how it's going. Thoughts on the Antids mounted? I've never been there. Bitcoin will go up or down. There's a Bitcoin conference in Singapore. Usually during the Bitcoin conference, it goes down. And then next week, I expect a little bit of a pump. I thought it was going to be way lower. So I only have a very small amount of my money in right now. I expect it to go lower until the FOMC meeting. If it's 25 basis points, it might go a little bit lower and then dip. If it's 50 basis points, it will dip because it's bearish for the economy. Again, if you look at the previous time that there were a lot of rate cuts, Bitcoin went down. But of course, it's a different time frame because that was well ahead of the halving, and now we're basically in the post-halving / election time. So there's a lot of factors. Let's see, man. Trade the charts. I'm not Nostradamus. I thought it was going to go down to 44.6. And then it bounced off 52. It's like, fuck. Well, better move some coin in. Otherwise, I'm going to miss the next run up. Let's see what happens next week. All right. Maximal. Steve, what if the Thai girl didn't go to many countries, but many countries been inside her? Does this count as well traveled? No, that counts as dicked around. So, I don't know. I would not. Have you guys ever been to a wishing well, where you throw in a coin and then it goes all the way to the bottom and then it goes bloop, and then you make your wish? This is not what you want when you're sleeping with girls, where you throw it in, you're not hitting the walls, and then suddenly you're at the cervix, or right? And then you have to flop it. This is not what you want. Dennison, is there a question attached? I don't see it. I'll keep my eye out for you. Igor, welcome to the Vigorous crew. You're in for a wild ride. DC81, got my hands on some Mirabegron. Came as 50 milligrams time release. Not sure what I should take it or cut it in half. Stop the time release. Take 25 milligrams 2 times daily, or maybe it shouldn't matter. Okay, so based on my research, the half-life is 50 hours, but you still get an immediate effect when you take it. So you take 25 to 50 milligrams before activity, before fasted cardio, before the workout. And then, man, don't eat food too late, too close to a Vigorous Q&A. You'd be burping up yogurt. 25 to 50 milligrams before bed. I can sleep perfectly on this and clenbuterol. No way. Can't sleep. Jordan Day. Hey, Steve, any advice on healing meniscus tear, fibrocartilage, trying to push back, avoid surgery altogether, be doing bike sauna supplements, add in a DECA. If it's torn, then you need surgery. End of story. I mentioned this last week. I mentioned it the day before, the week before. I mentioned it every single week. If something is torn, you need surgery, and then you can do a healing protocol, which I discussed a million different times as well. So let's not waste time on that on this figures Q&A. 1 milligram TB500, 1 milligram BPC157, 5 milligrams GHK copper, 20 milligrams Anavar. 2 to 6, I use growth hormone or growth hormone secretagogues, but I would still prefer growth hormone. 20 grams collagen peptides with hyaluronic acid and vitamin C. Grilamide is an excellent one. Let me link it down below so I can get a kickback. Collagen. Boom. And rest. Yeah, but if something is torn, get it diagnosed and do the surgery. It's not going to grow together. You're not Wolverine or Deadpool. That's only in the movies. Grey's Anatomy, Grey's Anthony. Steve tried fasting for 2 days, lost about 10 pounds, looked very, very flat, had 1,000 grams of carbs, only went up 1 pound the next day, still flat. Part 2 below. Also switched probe 1 month ago, but getting labs to access that in case test levels are low and not working. Thoughts? Okay, yeah. Just eat your regular diet, you'll fill out. And regarding the propionate, I mean, continue with the protocol until you feel good. I mean, yeah, your message is a little bit hard to decipher, buddy. Last week I heard you were talking about organ imaging. Where in Thailand do I do this, and which organ should I check? Which would be my first time? Okay, didn't I mention Urapong Medical Center last week also? So let me link it again. Urapong Medical Center. I hate this new function of Google where it says continue your search, and then you get a search bar instead of what the fuck it should be giving you, search results. All right, Urapong Medical Centers listed down below. Urapong Medical Center. And then if you want to do an echo, just do it at one of the, or an MRI, do it at one of the private hospitals. Which one did I go to? Rama 9 Hospital. That's a nice one, actually. Rama 9. Yeah. Sure. You can just walk in and do an echo. That's what I did. Well, I had my wife call, but... might as well show Bria Labs, right? Because before you guys ask, where do I do blood work then? Bria Labs. I swear, it's like every week it's the same questions, dude. Oh, wait, I shouldn't be so cynical, right? Okay, Bria Labs. I answer the same questions every week with love and affection. Yeah, all right. Go do it there. It's linked down below. Did you measure all of your important organs? Yeah, ask your mom. She'll probably say 7 inches. I just answered this. Are you going to spam this question now? Don't make me fucking put you in timeout, dude. With that fancy measuring tape, now's the time for the DHT experiment. Yes. Yes, I got DHT and a bathmate on the way. Let's... that would be nice, huh? Yeah, that would be good. 18 centimeters around. Well, let's see what happens. Igor, is methylene blue as good as fluvoxamine? And will you try to use racetams? Racetams, I used piracetam a couple times, and it's okay. You know, there's so much stuff to try, and I don't have time to try all of it. So maybe at one point or another I will get you to it. But methylene blue is not as good as fluvoxamine, but it comes damn close. It's better for fluvoxamine for productivity and cognition, but not as good for mood. Yeah, even if you combine it with 5-HTP. Can DHEA cause some stimulants? It acts on the adrenal gland, so it can be stimulating. Yeah, some people notice that they get stimulated. Some people notice that they get sleepy. So that's why you have to experiment. Take it either in the morning or the evening. But if you take it in the evening, it would be best to combine it with pregnenolone for GABA-A receptor interaction, so you can relax. So, but yeah, some people notice that they get a little bit sleepy or feel stimulated. I take 25 milligrams DHEA in the morning. 12.5 in the evening. I stopped taking pregnenolone because my mitochondrial function is so good that I'm assuming that my pregnenolone synthesis is sky high. Even though I don't test for pregnenolone, you can't do that here in Thailand. Methylene blue is such a fucking game changer. 200 micrograms albuterol, 4 milligrams methylene blue in combination with Pico-2 that you recommended best for deep breath. Yeah, that's one hell of a stack, man. Yeah, you can... Man, if there's like Coke laying in the house in the corner by accident, it will end up right in your nose. That's that's how much of a deep breath you can do. You can just like, cocaine over there. And it will just go right into your nose. Don't even need to make a line. Yeah. I don't know how we ended up at the cocaine topic, but deep breaths, 100%. Today I did stiff-legged deadlift with 70 kilos, and even though I felt a little bit compromised, 5 milligrams of methylene blue and 4 grams of Pico-2. Lovely. Laying on the floor, gasping for air, but all the oxygen goes in, and with that comes the energy, and it feels great. Ilya, Ilya. Rip Ilya Golem, by the way. Is it beneficial to dose 5 IU's growth hormone daily right before bed, 2 hours after last meal? When it comes to retaining insulin sensitivity, can it be done safely, indefinitely? Yes, if you live the lifestyle, which is daily fasted cardio, not eating too much carbohydrates before bed, which you shouldn't be doing, and training a boatload so your insulin sensitivity is okay, then I don't see a reason with it. All the bodybuilders that I know, they take 5 to 10 to 15 to 18 IU's growth hormone before bed, have no issues with insulin sensitivity. It's always the guys that skip the fasted cardio, eat like an asshole in the evening, and then they wonder why their triglycerides are so high. Yeah, my growth hormone, 2 IU's that I take before bed. No. You're doing it wrong. So if you're doing it right, then go right ahead. Kratos, I'm on top of my mineral intake from 10 IU's growth hormone, 100 micrograms T4, 20 micrograms T3, split AM and PM, TSH 1.22. Okay, so that's in a range. Free T3 is a little bit low. Free T4 is a little bit low, but free T3 is good. Ideally, I'd like to get my free T3 to 3.4, but should I adjust? It depends on if you test your free T3 right after the dosing or before, because if you test your T3 levels before dosing, then obviously if you split up 20 micrograms into 10 microgram servings, then it will probably be 3.4 to 4 right after, because the last serving might be the night before, right? So I would keep it there, man. Keep your TSH around 1 when you're supplementing with thyroid hormones. And that way you don't completely shut down your thyroid function, and when you do stop the thyroid hormones, it will pick back up. Suggestion how to train biceps correctly. Can't decide on how to split my routines. Pick 10 exercises that work with your biomechanics, and then structure them in a way where you do something, it's in a neutral position, then a peak contraction, so that will be overhead, right? So you do the overhead bicep curl. One would be like just neutral, alternating dumbbell curls or hammer curls, and then one in the lengthened position. And then you cycle through the 10 exercises that work for you, doing 3 exercises per workout. And I don't know your biomechanics. So for me, it would be like an easy bar curl or preacher curl, and then an overhead curl, and then what is it called? Spider curl, or a laying in the bench, backwards curl, where you're like all the way like this, curling like that. Seems to work well for me. Who is this? Octavian. If you see this stuff, just ban them, man. We got enough members. I don't care. If they're young, ban them. If it's SARM questions, just ignore it. And if they're spamming, then right? You don't need to spam if you're a member. You don't need to spam if you super chat. And right now we're still going through member questions and super chat questions because there's too many. So I'm skipping over everything else. My test levels on 500 milligrams. Testosterone, I'm assuming, daily sub-Q is 5,300. That's very high. That's very high. Increased dosage incrementally from 175 over the past 25 weeks. This is my first cycle, hCG every other day. Blood looks decent. Any thoughts? Thanks. It might mean that your testosterone is not getting to the androgen receptor and just floating around in the bloodstream. But it could be. I mean, with hCG and 500 tests, yeah, I don't know. Did you make any gains? I hope so. And otherwise, watch the androgen receptor deep dive. Androgen receptor. To figure out all the methods to increase your androgen receptor density, which is just training, basically. Let me see if there's a list in here. AR upregulators. High volume resistance training, a vitamin D3, vitamin D metabolites, L-carnitine L-tartrate, DHEA, androgens obviously, but you're already on that. Cyclic adenosine monophosphate, coming from the sexual binding globulin receptor complex, estrogen sufficient levels, zinc for the zinc fingers, and then there's a boatload of activators. So it's all linked in the androgen receptor deep dive down below. Dubster Buster, in Ryan Root's latest Windsor video, several studies presented that Windsor actually beneficial for joints through different mechanisms of action. Also, his own experience from clients don't shout the messenger. Okay, I'll have a look when I get to the Windsor deep dive. Thank you. How important is estradiol for kidneys while being on cycle? It's mandatory. 2 grams, 3 grams, 6 grams. I run it every cycle. What's important when choosing an estradiol product? Dosage on a cycle versus TRT. TRT can be like 2 grams a day, and on cycles, depending on how much you're cycling, maybe 6 grams. I'm using 6 grams estradiol root extract, 3 grams in the morning, 3 grams in the evening from Gorilla Mind. And that seems to keep my creatinine and cystatin C nicely in range. Let me link it down below. Also don't have an affiliate link for that. Oops. Doesn't matter. Just use my discount code and you'll get that sweet 10% discount. That's the one I use and it gets the job done. I've watched all of your nootropic videos. Is it fair to ask, what is your opinion, the best bang for your buck, easily sourceable solution for long, deep work days? Methylene blue or modafinil. Those are easily sourceable and long-lasting, so you only have to dose it once per day. Yeah, I stopped using modafinil, though, because the last time I took it, it gave me a headache. I didn't use it for a year when I was off cycle. And then I took 50 milligrams, and it gave me a terrible headache. And this was the pharmaceutical one, the Modi Wake. And then I tried it again, give me a headache, so I gave everything to Aaron. And he was happy. When is Steve going natty again? Fuck, never, man. Don't forget to hit the like button. Actually, don't hit the like button. You got to give them some reverse psychology. 2 years growth hormone for the last 3 months, but it's still high. I don't know what you mean with this, buddy. What is still high? What is the concern? Come on, post it properly. I no understand. I no comprendere. I did check my ferritin, 37.4. Okay, so that's an supplement. So the supplement with iron? No, I don't think so. Just eat beef. Tomorrow I can check my C-reactive protein. What else can I check? C-reactive protein, and maybe your blood pressure is high. Just use an Armoron 7. You know? Again, I need to know more from you. You say that you're out of breath, but what does that mean? You know? There could be a million different things wrong. Maybe you have pneumonia. Check your white blood cells. Or just consult with a doctor, man. I mean, I'm not here to play your doctor. If you have a serious medical condition and you don't feel good, go visit a doctor instead of asking me online. I don't know if I have any sleep apnea. I have a video on that. Go give that a watch, and otherwise do a sleep study. I'll link it down below. Kratos. I've always done ultrasensitive estrogen tests, but only taking tests with Primo or Masteron. Would the regular one be just as accurate? No, it's not as accurate, but it gets the job done. So, and again, you know, like if you do a sensitive test, you see that your estrogen is low, then you're going to take action, right? But on a regular test, you would know when your estrogen is low. And it's not just the numbers that you have on paper. You would go by the effects that you're having. Do you have dry joints, dry skin, acne, gyno, dry, you know, water retention, right? So you go with all the symptoms that you might experience and then go with the results in blood work and then make small adjustments. So whether you do sensitive or regular, sensitive is important when you're on Trenbolone and maybe if you have libido issues. But then if you do sensitive, you also need to do sensitive testosterone, sensitive diet testosterone, and get DHEA and pregnenolone checked because it's not just related to estrogen. So get the full picture. Connor 6 times. If you end up having to eat dinner minutes before bedtime, is it best to skip that day pre-bedtime growth hormone injection? No, you just skip the carbs. You have protein and salad. That's what I have tonight. I have beef, chicken, 1 whole egg, 1 or 2 egg whites, and vegetables. And then I shoot 10 IU's growth hormone as soon as I'm done. My fasting glucose levels are fine. So, guys, I know you guys are super scared about your health, but if you live the lifestyle, you have nothing to worry about. So if you're a lazy, fat piece of shit and you eat dinner right before bedtime and inject your growth hormone, yes, you have problems. But if you do daily fasted cardio, you do your workout, you train hard, you eat healthy, you take some magnesium, you take some berberine, you take some fish oil, you take some zinc, some vitamin D3, I think you're in a good state of health. And you don't have anything to worry about tiny dosages of growth hormone that people laugh about. Yeah, the bilirubin is slightly out of range, 10 to 20 moles. I'm at 30. Okay, could it be the cause of orals? No, this is bilirubin recycling in the intestinal tract. What else could this be elevated? So I just explained it with the calcium diglucarate and the micellar casein. Start taking that because if your hemoglobin is normal, your hematocrit is normal, it has nothing to do with orals. It just means that you're not excreting bilirubin or you're recycling bilirubin, and you need to make sure that the glucuronidase enzymes in your intestinal tract are not recycling the glucarate from the bilirubin, which is conjugated bilirubin, and then allowing it to be reabsorbed. It's called the enterohepatic recirculation. Look into it. I went to the doctor and did an EKG and have left ventricular hypertrophy. I'm in Thailand, as you said, and now I've got on Tolmesartan. Anything info, what's the easiest way to cause it to regress? You have to come off cycle and do daily cardio. That's the only way. I got left ventricular hypertrophy now with 1 millimeter into that range. And I'm sure if I come off cycle, I keep doing the cardio, I keep taking the Tolmesartan and maybe add in the Nobivolol. The reason why I didn't add it in now because I want to burn fat. And with Nobivolol, I felt that fat loss started to slow from 8% body fat onwards. So, you know, come off cycle, do cardio, maybe take 5 milligrams Nobivolol, reduce the Tolmesartan dose or take that out completely, and then you can reverse it, and then the LVH will come right back as soon as you step back on cycle. So that is just the reality of it. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease has memory, muscle memory has memory, and left ventricular hypertrophy has memory as well. So as soon as you start abusing, you go right back to your old habits of steroids and food abuse, then it comes right back. That's why I'm always in a caloric deficit, unfortunately, or most of the time. And that's why I should be running Nobivolol, but this time I didn't use it because, you know, the last time I had left ventricular hypertrophy, it was 1 or 2 millimeters. And the heart enlargement was like 1 or 2 millimeters above what they would consider to be bad. And then you do additional research and you're like, hey, you know what? It could be a lot worse. And again, I do my daily fasted cardio. I don't have any problems with my ejection fraction. There's no thickening of the wall, so I'm fine. Good abuse of 1,4-butanediol caused that. Oh, here. I went to the doctor. Of the LVH. I don't know what 1,4-butanediol is. Is that a cannabidiol? Is the primary alcohol? Well, oh, this is used in GBL. You're in Thailand and you're taking GBL? Are you fucking crazy? I'm in Thailand and I'm admitting to using GBL. Yeah. Maybe this is a wake-up call for you. All right, I'm going to skip over the member questions because you guys just spam at this point, and let's go to some super chats. Joints under recovering on 20 milligrams. Joints are under recovering on 20 milligrams Accutane every day. Are you aware of the mechanism behind this? Could it be chronic fatigue following a full course? Could growth hormone help? Far help? Don't want to get screwed. Yeah, it could be. I mean, Accutane and low estrogen levels are just known to fuck with your joints. So you got to be super careful, and maybe you reduce, the explosiveness of your reps. Really focus on time under tension and the control. But yeah, Accutane is known to compromise your joints, just like Winstrol and low estrogen levels. So maybe Anavar will offset that. Maybe growth hormone will offset that. Maybe Nandrolone will offset that. But it might not. You could try. Or you need to come off Accutane every day, unless this is what it's prescribed to keep your acne at bay. But then again, if you go on Nandrolone and you reduce your Accutane, well, acne is going to come back with a vengeance, dude. So it's you gotta make some sacrifices. So if you want to get your acne under control, maybe just do TRT, Anavar, and growth hormone. Finish the course of Accutane for the 6 to 9 months, 12 months, however long it's going to be prescribed at 20 milligrams per day, and then go on cycle without the worry of having acne again. But I still get acne here and there, and I did a pretty long cycle of high dose Accutane also. For speed power athlete planning to raise testosterone levels and hit the highest reference range for 1 month to go through the toughest training period of prep, would it be better to go for hCG month? Didn't I also answer? I already answered this, buddy. I already answered this at the beginning of the video. So please use the timestamps. It's at the beginning. It's right down in the description section. It's right down there. Just click out see more. And it's right there. All the links are there, buddy. All right. Now we understand. You're on growth hormone and your fasting glucose levels is low. Earlier this year it was 5.3. I don't know. Maybe you have some sort of glucose dump in the middle of the night. I don't know. I would need to see your diet. I would need to see your supplementation. If you take a boatload of berberine before bed, then obviously you can lower your blood glucose levels. Or maybe you take sweet potato or oatmeal before bed. They can also dump your glucose levels because it causes a significant insulin spike. So look into the total picture. Try to go through possible causes one by one and then try to eliminate those. But I mean, my fasting glucose is 65. Glucose and mole 2 milligrams. Uh, 4.3. Dude, mine is like 3.6. So it's not, you're not lower than I am, and I'm not worried. How can you tell your workout has been enough? Sometimes just with 2 sets, I get a crazy pump. If I want to do a third one, I need to lower the weight a lot, like 40%. Yeah, I do 2 sets per exercise, and usually 3 exercises to 5 exercises per body part. Main body parts, I do 5 exercises, and the smaller body parts, I do 3. So for shoulders, I might do 5. For chest, I might do 5. Back, I might do 5. Quads, I might do 5. And hamstrings, I do 3. All right, calves, I do 3. Biceps, I do 3. Triceps, I do 3. And that, get some experience and, slowly try to figure out what works for you. And it might take time. I have, dedicated articles on my website about how to structure your training. And I discussed this in the upcoming, let me see, where's the first one? Progressive overload. Give this article a read. It's linked down below. And then it's always structured it. But yeah, dropping the weight. So I do one working set with my maximum weight, right? Usually around 9 to 12 reps. And then I drop it by, or to 75%. And then I go for 9 to 12 reps again. Because I train a little bit higher rep range now because I'm on Winstrol and I'm getting old. So I don't want to do the 50 kilo dumbbell shoulder presses anymore. For 6 reps with a lot of screaming and grunting. So instead I do a 35 or 40, depending on the day. And then I do 12 reps. Yeah, nice and slow. Nice and deep. All right. EPA fish oil for cardiovascular health. Yeah, I take it every meal, and my cardiovascular health is very, very good. John Furious, would you use 2 milliliters cerebrolysine every day or 4 milliliters a few times per week after very high CNF demanding sessions? I take 5 milliliters every single day now for the next, or for a 2-month cycle, because my central nervous system stimulation is elevated 5 times per week because I'm loving the training right now. So yeah, you can do 4 milliliters or 5 milliliters 2 or 3 times per week. You know, cerebrolysin is getting more expensive. So if you're limited on budget, then I would just take it 2 or 3 times per week after your more strenuous day, before bed. RC, any tips on dealing with anhedonia potentially inducing by melatonin 2? Can't feel feelings. ODD, OCD symptoms also diminished. I don't like this. I'm not really familiar with that. I mean, maybe look into 9-MeBC or tyrosine supplementation, vitamin B6, B5P supplementation, serotonin supplementation. But right, is your anhedonia coming from low serotonin, low dopamine, low norepinephrine? That you kind of have to diagnose. And off the top of my head, I wouldn't know which one of those could be caused by melanotan 2. Throw in some methylene blue, man. It probably fixes you right up. I'm usually in a good mood until I see some of the questions. Hey, Steve, quick question. With daily subcutaneous injections of 0.3 milliliters testosterone and MCT oil into lower belly fat potentially slow fat loss at the injection site? No, but it's better to do it in the upper glute. That's where I do, because if you inject in the lower abs and then you go to the beach, you know, you have a little fat pouch in the lower abs. So do it in the spot where it's covered most of the time. So I twist, inject into the upper glute fat, and then that's the last place anybody will see. So when I go to the beach or a tribe, a beach club here in Bangkok, man, that's a great place. For the guys that are in Thailand right now, go to Tribe one time. This place is legit, man. It's so chill. Yeah, down below, Tribe. Great drinks. They got a little infinity pool. It feels like a beach club, but it's in M-Sphere shopping mall. Great food, great drinks, nice location. The owner, or one of the co-owners, he recognized me, so he's a part of the Vigorous crew, so that's always appreciated. So I inject in the places that are not visible when I go to a beach club, so it looks like I'm natural. Yeah, and you should inject in that area as well, or upper legs if that's easier. Dorian Yates style training, yes or no? Yeah, maybe with 5 to 10 milliliters cerebrolysine before bed. You look like a freak though, but it's yeah. ALT reached 206 on a 16-week cycle, 60 milligrams Anavar, 40 milligrams Accutane, 350 test, backed off to TRT and Anavar. I use growth hormone plus your recommended liver subs. How much would GH have an effect on liver recovery? The growth hormone has no effect on liver enzymes. So add in the TUDCA, add in the NAC, add in the injectable glutathione, wait for the Anavar and Accutane to metabolize, give yourself another 4 weeks on top of that to clean out, and then your liver enzyme should be normal again for the training intensity that you have, because ALT and AST enzymes are also found in skeletal muscle when you train to hypertrophy. Then these enzymes are leaking into skeletal muscle, giving you a false positive for liver damage. That's why we check, albumin, globulin, gamma GT, alkaline phosphatase, etc. And if those are all in range, then you're probably fine. In SLU, my God. In the SLU protocol, you recommend growth hormone intramuscularly instead of subcutaneous. Yeah, with subcutaneous, apparently the absorption is very, very slow, and then hormone-sensitive lipase doesn't induce lipolysis in time for your fast cardio or workout. So if you want to take growth hormone to induce fat loss, it's probably best to do it an hour, maybe even 2 hours before activity, so it has enough time to absorb into central circulation, and then stimulate hormone-sensitive lipase for lipolysis, allowing you to lose fat, which you can then burn off during the cardio or workout session. That's why it changed to intramuscular. Right? It's a learning thing for all of us. Best analogy or explanation for Semax or Selank? I can't remember, man. It's been such a long time since I really used these, so please watch the deep dive. I'll link them down below. I can't remember, man. I have some Semax laying in the house, and after trying Cerebrolysin and other nootropics, I know that chapter is kind of closed for me. So it was great at the time. Sometimes I use Semax to improve my libido. And Selank, yeah, if you want to say that, the best analogy is Semax is for libido and cognition, and Selank is just purely for stimulation. But then other people feel relaxed while taking Selank. So try it out, see which one you like, and buy more of the one you like. Right now I have plenty of alternatives on the menu. How would you test out to make sure you're not allergic from the pig brains before injecting Cerebrolysin? You could do a very low dose of 0.1 milliliter sub-Q and see what happens. But yeah, some people are allergic to it. So don't go intramuscular right off the start. Just do sub-Q, just like you would do with underground labs, to see if you get an inflammatory response for post-injection pain or an infection, right? If you don't trust your underground lab, then that's why I've been avoiding underground labs up until now, and now I finally found a good one, and I can use it while the reputation is good. So yeah, do a small shot, see how you respond, and then take it from there. Or rub some on your skin first, keep it super safe. David Fry, Steve, what do you think of Winstrol does for strength? Bearing joint issues and better compounds, wondering why a lot of Olympians used it in the past. Probably because they didn't have access to Masteron or Halotestin or Superdrol. So Winstrol is great for strength, but as you get stronger, you also compromise your tendons. And, we use what's available. It's that simple, you use what's available. And back in the day, we had less compounds available than we do now. So cycles have changed, physiques have changed accordingly. But I still like Winstrol, man. I take 50 milligrams a week. And it's, I think it's pretty okay. Yeah, look at this hole here. And I can't wait to see what I look like when the growth hormone comes out. Because I think I'm pretty lean, but the growth hormone just making me, look how deep this is. Here too. A bit flat though. But that's part of dieting. So yeah, whatever they used in the past, those old Olympians used Nandrolone only. That's because they didn't have access to testosterone or anything else. So you go what you have access to right now. I had anhedonia for melanotan 2. There's an overlap with the melanocortin receptors 3 and 4, potentially overstimulating with long-term use. Yeah, but I'm not sure which of the neurotransmitters are depleted in that context. So, sorry, can't help there. But I'm sure if you piece it together, through the melanocortin receptors, which dopamine receptors or serotonin receptors or the neurotransmitters are depleted, then he should be able to overcome his anhedonia. And otherwise, look into tesofensine, which is selective serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine receptor inhibitor. And that should be able to overcome the anhedonia quite significantly. Sean Furious, assuming we go 1 month of hCG monotherapy, can we estimate the level of HPTA shutdown? Will PCT'd be necessary? Maybe. Maybe not. You never know, man. You never know. You got to get your hands dirty and see what happens, because some people get full shutdown and other people don't even get shut down. So you never know until you try. Why do you say other instead of other? Because English is not my first language, so if I mispronounce somewhere, then please forgive me. You try to speak a second language while you live in a country where nobody speaks the language. And otherwise, go to another educator, man. If my pronunciation bothers you, I don't really care. Plenty of other educators that you can choose. Oh, actually, no. I'm all you got. I'm all you got, dude. So, if it bothers you, come back in a decade. Maybe I pronounce it better then. Lilma's uncle, advice and protocol for best optimized sleep energy for somebody who works night shifts year-round, 2 weeks off night, 3 weeks rest, growth hormone, melatonin, cerebrolysin, inject carnitine. Off nights, 3 weeks rest. I would continue with your night shift protocol in the time that you have rest. I mean, I wake up at 12 and go to bed at 4, so that's basically night shift. And I take my vitamin D, I take my melatonin before bed. Sometimes I take my cerebrolysin and growth hormone. You can take 50 milligrams modafinil or 10 milligrams, 20 milligrams SR9009 to kind of help you reset your circadian rhythm. And otherwise, watch a deep sleep deep dive, man. There's so many suggestions in there. But the best thing is that you just keep your rhythm going. Because if you keep alternating between day and night shift, then obviously it's going to be very hard to adapt to that. So in your case, I would do maybe 50 milligrams modafinil and 20 milligrams SR9009 in the evening, and then 2 IUs growth hormone, 5 to 10 milligrams melatonin, 2 to 5 milliliters cerebrolysin, and maybe some pregnenolone or progesterone, 100 milligrams before bed. And yeah, but you just got to be steady with it, because I'm completely used to this 12 o'clock to 4 a.m. Routine, and I sleep just fine. My energy levels are just fine. So just don't alternate all the time. Chronicles of Cody. Is there a question attached to that? Here. Is Glen male fertility friendly? It might be fertility friendly for women, though, because clenbuterol increases the contraction and the motility, not the motility, but it's like how the uterus and the cervix and the everything in that area, the female reproductive tract contracts, allowing semen to enter the uterus easier. So I actually suggested it to my wife, but she's like, no, we're not going to do it. But yeah, clenbuterol doesn't shut down the HPTA. It might be slightly anabolic, but I'm not sure how much of an effect it might have on oxidative stress. I didn't research that. I didn't take clenbuterol when I was off cycle, so it could be. I do remember reading some scientific evidence. Did I have it bookmarked still? No. But there is some scientific evidence that clenbuterol might actually help with female fertility rates or pregnancy rates. Yeah. Sumax is like a Ferrari, or Sumax is normal? I would say that Sumax is a decent car, but if you want a Rolls Royce, then you need to go with cerebrolysin. Do you use injectable Winstrol? Yes, 50 milligrams a week. Hard for crypto. Can you suggest an area to rent apartment close to the Muscle Factory, Bangkok, and pharmacies? No, the pharmacies are in the center of town, and the Muscle Factory is a little bit out of town. Try to keep rent under 25,000 baht per month, but maps hard to follow. I mean, how often are you going to the gym, and how often are you going to the pharmacy? Plus, you don't need to go to the pharmacy. You know, send me an email. Send me an email, and I'll hook you up. If you're already in Thailand, I'll let you know where the pharmacies are and how to get it delivered to your house. And just live somewhere close to the muscle factory. There's plenty of condos there, man. Just go to On BTC and look for condominiums close by. You should be able to easily find something under 25,000 baht. I was staying in the Link in a room 55 square meters. Big kitchen that had me sold on it was 16,000 baht. It might be 22,000 baht now, right? Inflation, denomination of the currency. But yeah, that was easily doable. Big room, you stayed there for 5 years. A bunch of hypochondriacs in here or what? Yeah, people are confused, man. People are scared about their health taking drugs when in reality they should just be eating better. It is what it is. Aside from pulling GH out, do you do carb loading before the Olympia? Well, it's not traditional carb loading. I might throw in some Superdrol depending on my liver enzymes. And I'll just eat out, so I'll fill out. Yeah, eating out makes me fill out, especially peaches. Oh man, so much carbohydrates and sugar in there. Oh, especially the jaw here. Like a turbo pump. So yeah, I'll be eating at Bazaar Meat or Meat & Co. No, Meat & Co is in Dubai. Bazaar Meat. I'll be eating another steak restaurant with a friend of mine and Aaron together. Then we'll go to Bavets, and then the Olympia starts. So we got 3 steaks. I will fast for about 2 to 3 days leading into the Olympia, but knowing how fast I fill out as soon as I start eating, then I expect to be 240 without water retention. Yeah. So no traditional carb loading, but I might throw in some shiznit. Can equipoise act as an AI, and do you think it causes kidney damage? I made a deep dive about the kidney damage. I'll link it down below, both of them. I think it causes kidney damage if you don't stay on top of your antioxidant and you don't keep your estradiol level sufficiently in range, which was not addressed in those Boldenone studies. So if your estradiol levels are normal, you have some testosterone in the picture, and your antioxidant is there, then I don't think it's something you have to worry about. But yeah, there's clear scientific evidence that it causes kidney damage in certain circumstances. And yeah, it appears to act as an AI. Whether boldenone converts into estrone and that doesn't convert into estradiol, or actually some of the metabolites like dihydroboldenone, for example, which might be produced at like 1.7 to 2.5%, which is then based on the conversion of dianabol into a dihydrodianabol metabolite. Yeah, that might act as an AI. So yeah, what we do see clearly is that serum estradiol levels go down. What do you recommend for an AI during cycle? Got my blood work done and prolactin came back at 35 nanograms per milliliter. I think you got it misconstrued. An aromatase inhibitor lowers estradiol levels, and prolactin can be lowered with vitamin B6, B5P plus L-tyrosine, or cabergoline, or pramipexole. So I recommend aromasin on cycle if you need it, or primobolan or mastrone or boldenone to keep your estradiol levels under control. And if your prolactin levels are that high and you don't know your estrogen levels, then why would you throw in an aromatase inhibitor when you might crush your estradiol levels? Now your prolactin is high, your estrogen is low, your dick is not going to work. 25 milligrams vitamin B6, B5P, 3 times per day, plus 5, well, let's say 1,000 milligrams L-tyrosine to increase your dopamine levels, also 3 times per day. And then if that doesn't work, 0.5 milligram cabergoline as needed. Not once a week, not twice a week, just as needed, because it will kill your prolactin the next day. What if I skip SARMs for PCT and just go to cycle with hCG? I'm worried about the clot risking. How much longer will it take without a serum PCT? Can you formulate your questions a little bit better? Because I have no fucking idea what you mean, Brad. Really. It's every question that I read of you, it's like you're just text a speech and it doesn't go anywhere. So try it again, and then I'll answer. Is methylene blue worth taking orally? Sure to be injected. It's an oral, guy. I don't understand why you got the idea that it's an injectable. Methylene blue is an oral. You either take it as a liquid or a tablet. So take it orally. Ron Burgundy, happy birthday, Steve. We're in the same date and year. All right. Thanks so much, dude. Yeah, so my birthday is on the 28th, which is a Saturday. And I think we'll be doing a birthday stream because I have a party on the 27th and the 29th. So I might as well share the birthday with you guys just like I did last year. I'm turning 41. Ron, much appreciated, dude, for the early birthday gift and wishes. I highly appreciate it. And a happy birthday to you, too. Ron, I hope to see you in the chat that morning for you or that day for you. And then we can celebrate it together. And don't have to super chat me again because $50 is more than enough, bro. How do I become a female coach without seeming like a creeper? Let them come to you. That's what they did to me. My wife got great results competing, and then I had 20 clients, female clients, and 30, 40 male clients. So if you're good at what you're doing, they will come to you. Hey, Steve, do you purchase whole or ground chia seeds? Whole. I never tried ground chia seeds. I use ground flax seeds, though. Okay, so the flaxseed lignans might inhibit the androgen receptors. That's why I stopped using flax seeds. I use whole chia seeds on every meal, 1 tablespoon, about 15 grams. And my shits have never been better. Long-term health concern, 0.5 milligram of estradiol and 200 milligrams testosterone enanthate per week. It's TRT for low testosterone. So would be for life. This is what hypochondriacs are asking about. No. If you live this lifestyle, 0.5 milligram of estradiol and 200 milligrams of test is not going to make a dent. If you eat at McDonald's or Burger King or Five Guys or Denny's or whatever, you don't live the lifestyle, you don't do your daily fasted cardio, then yes, this could be detrimental to your health. You could get cardiovascular disease, you could get gyno, you could get acne, all the problems that people associate it with testosterone and estradiol. But if you live the lifestyle, you have nothing to worry about. So put in the work and relax. On good, on nut, A-O-N, on nut. Fuck, let me type it out. On nut, BTS station. This is the closest BTS station to the Muscle Factory. Here, on nut. I know, Thai names. Yeah, that's why it's so much fun here. Finally. ET Fitness shows his face. Last week I was waiting for you, dude. You dropped me a super chat and then I couldn't find your question. And then somebody copied it, actually, and then I answered it. So, but here's the question again. Estradiol is 90 picograms per milliliter, sexual binding globulin 11, so that's low. Total testosterone 3,000, free testosterone 60. From the question above, 600 milligrams testosterone enanthate, 420 milligrams master enanthate, 150 milligrams primo. Could anything else be more optimal? I upped the primo to 210. To get estradiol back into range. Yeah, so in this case, it seems that masteron enanthate is not lowering your estradiol levels. So I would increase the primo and maybe lower the masteron to 200 milligrams per week. And then go to 600 milligrams primo per week. 600 test, 600 primo, 200 masteron. Your SHBG will probably be similar or even lower because your estradiol will come down and estradiol regulates the sexual binding globulin level. So if it's 11 now, it'll probably be 8 as your estradiol levels come down. Yeah, so you seem to be the guy that doesn't get aromatase inhibiting effects from the masteron, or your masteron is actually testosterone, which also happens. All right, I got it, buddy. Much appreciated. So lower the masteron, increase the primo, or add an aromatase inhibitor, depending on what you prefer. On nut. Dubster Buster, if you should travel somewhere alone, where would you go and why? I don't know, I've been everywhere. I would like to go to Tibet. Yeah, Tibet. I like Bhutan a lot. And I like the north of Laos and Vietnam a lot. So Tibet is pretty close to that area. I would like to go to Tibet. But I would like to go with my wife, even though she wouldn't like to travel there. Tibet. Bhutan, I would like to go again. Tibet. Bali, I would love to go again with my wife. Yeah. And the rest, I kind of been to all the places that I want to. I will go to New Zealand in February. And Australia. So that will be a lot of fun. I'll go do a Hobbit Town. Eat at the buffet there. What is it? The Hobbit Town. What is it called? Evening banquet tour. Hobbiton. Yeah, evening banquet at Hobbiton. So what, $200 or something? 230. But it's Australian dollars. Or New Zealand dollars, so it's probably like $100 or something. Yeah, I would love to do that. But Tibet, I don't think it's ever going to happen. But that will be a good place to go. If I need to suddenly stop testosterone suspension for 7 days, would using hCG during the last 30 days and stopping both at the same time get the job done? Depends on how much testosterone suspension you're using, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, so at least you'd be able to bridge that period. I'm on test 250 milligrams per week, but recently started a cycle of 20 milligrams RID. Fuck SARMs, fuck MK677 and 20 milligrams Austrian. Is it okay doing rad and test in VAR, or is this pointless? No, I think it's a weak as fuck cycle. So throw away the rad, replace the MK677 for growth hormone, and increase the Anavar to 25 milligrams. You'll probably get the same of 25 milligrams Anavar as 20 milligrams VAR plus 20 milligrams rad. Remember, SARMs are for losers. Real men use gear. Alpha Evolution, if you suspect gushy issues from long COVID with LR337 following probiotics, I'm not sure if that would work, because long COVID seems to be a neurotransmitter / inflammation / brain function problem. And maybe that affects your gut axis, and then I would look into neurotransmitter. So maybe it would work, but I don't think so. But then again, I'm not specialized in this subject. So maybe you want to super chat elsewhere. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe look into KPV or LL37, but I don't really know. Nolan, I hope there's a question attached. Oh, here. Steve, I tried to take 4 months off, but after 8 weeks, my testosterone was 120 nanograms per deciliter. After hCG monotherapy, 2,000 IUs per week, I tapped out and got back on TRT. Okay, so that means your hCG was not real. After hCG 8 weeks, you should have been at least 500, 600 on this much IU. So, again, recombinant hCG. Not urine purified, it's all shit. You can thank the administration in the US for that. Labeling hCG as a biological. After that, urine purified hCG has just been shit quality. That's why we have your recombinant hCG. So, source some recombinant hCG. Try again. Try again if you want to come off. You know, it's not the end of the world. I did it for an entire year. It sucked, but it still got it done. Can you take growth hormone, IGF-1, R3 together? Yes. Already answered that in the beginning. Steve, would you ever do a video on preventing aging on steroids? Is it possible? No. No, I have that Benjamin Button stack, right? And I specifically mentioned to you guys that you can only use so much steroids. So, I mean, I'm on 750 milligrams per week and about a load of growth hormone and this and that, and I look older. I mean, I'm well aware. And then when I come off cycle, I look younger again. So it just comes with the territory, dude. You can't do anything about it. So if you don't want to prevent aging from steroids, keep it at TRT dosages, like I mentioned in the Benjamin Button stack, which is linked down below. And then if you go beyond that, then, oh, you remember the first increment that I was on, right? 150 test. And what was it, 10 milligrams Anavar? I still look pretty okay. And then as the dosages went up, the face just gets fuller and rounder, and now it's just fuck. And dude, I shaved this yesterday. It's already back. It goes so fast. So maybe when the growth hormone comes out, I'll look a little bit more streamlined. And then certainly when I go back on TRT, I'll look a lot more streamlined and less old. Part of the game. Sensei Steve, I receive 2,000 to 2,500 per month from investments. Would you say this is enough for TRT, eating clean, doing sports, and studying for other skills while in the province, not Bangkok? Yeah, absolutely, man. It's more than enough. If you make $2,000 anywhere besides Bangkok, where even in Bangkok you can do it for $2,000, man. It really depends on how much activity you're doing. So if you want to study, and you go to the gym, and you're eating clean, and you have a decent apartment, you do a little bit of testosterone replacement therapy, $2,000 is enough. If you want to live it up, $2,500 is better. And if you really want to live it up, and you want to do more than TRT, and you go out to nice dinners, I mean, I spent $300 on steak last Thursday. So, right, and so for that you need a little bit more money, obviously. So, but you can also have steak for $50, for two people. So it depends on your income. Like I make significantly more than that. But when I was earning $2,000 a month, then yeah, of course I wouldn't eat that steak for $300 with my wife. I didn't have a wife. I wouldn't take women for a dinner date to a restaurant like that. So it depends on your budget, man. It depends on your budget. With $2,000, you can eat out maybe 4 times a week or 4 times a month, right? Once a week. And if you're eating clean, you're making all your own food. You shop at Villa Market or Gourmet Market or whatever. You go to the same gym all the time. Maybe once in a while you go to a different gym. You pay the day pass. You get a student visa to learn whatever you want to learn, right? I think for $2,000, you can easily get it done. Yeah. $2,500 would be better, and if you have $5,000, you don't have to worry about money. I mean, I barely spent that. $5,000, and I spent like there's no bottom. So, yeah. Do you cold plunge? Yeah, once in a while. There's a couple places where they have saunas and cold plunges. I do it, but not frequently. No, not frequently. Did you notice any water retention from the Mirabegron? So I stopped taking it a week ago now, and the water retention is exactly the same. So I can't say that it got any better. So the water retention that I'm experiencing right now is from the 10 I use a growth hormone and electrolyte intake. So I didn't get any water retention is basically the same. So I'll see next week when I add in maybe 50 milligrams Mirabegron and 40 micrograms Clen at the same time for a couple days, see if the water retention goes up. And then I'll take everything out. Because again, I switched from the Mirabegron to the clenbuterol, and that might also make you retain a little bit of water. So I'll give that a try, and then at the end of the week, I'll probably record, and the week after the video should be done. So no, but I did find some scientific evidence that Mirabegron activates the beta-3 adrenergic receptors on the kidneys, and that causes mineral retention and thus water retention. And with growth hormone, that obviously is a double whammy. So maybe Mirabegron by itself causes less water retention than with growth hormone. But I want to run the growth hormone until 2 more weeks. Yeah, 2 more weeks, then I'm out. If you had to live in Europe, where would you live? Marbella? Malaga? Yeah. Istanbul? Lots of cats. Primo. Genotropin. Baklava. I would rather live in Istanbul, man, than anywhere in Europe. Yeah, fuck. Beautiful women also. Yeah. Love the channel. Do you have experience with DHEA? Yes, I have. Look into nootropics. I need some advice. Do you recommend something else? No, DHEA is nice. I take 10 milligrams maybe once a week. New Pept, maybe 10 milligrams once a week. And then once in a while I take Sumax, and every day or every 5 times a week I take methylene blue, right? So just cycle through these nootropics, man. Like on Sunday and Wednesday, I don't take methylene blue because that's days I don't train. So I might take a DHEA or a Nupept or Sumax or both. When I feel naughty, I have a lot of work to do. It's like fucking pop both. 6 hours of zoned in absolute phenomenal productivity, and then it kind of starts to wear off, and then I'll, I don't know, record some videos, play some video games, whatever. Sometimes I wake up to 200 emails, and the half of that is client shit, personalized advice, but email scheduling, consultations, and then the 50 or so VIP clients that I have now. I don't know how the fuck that happened. Yeah, to calculate that. Do some calculations in that. Yeah, so sometimes you wake up, you're like, oh, you need a little bit of a boost. That it's a DHEA and the new Pept. And then the methylene blue from the day before is clearly still working because it has pretty long half-life, long active life. So that's, yeah, it works quite well. So I like DHEA, but not every day. I feel pretty strung out if I take it every day. So I take it once a week. Again, it's in the Entrepreneur Nootropic Deep Dive video series. Let me just link it. That was a great series to make, but nobody watched. At least the SLU video did well. Oh, God, show all. I'll just link the first one, and then you can find your way to part 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3, 4, 5, 5, 4? 4. I should not eat this much yogurt right before the... So I'm burping all the time. Can you run 9-MeBC or tesofensine while taking fluvoxamine? Well, tesofensine, no, because it's selective serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine reuptake inhibitor, and fluvoxamine is a SSRI, so you have two SSRIs at the same time. And 9-MeBC is dopamine receptor... Man, what was it? Beta-carboline. Oh, increases tyrosine hydroxylase. Well, I haven't looked into this in a while. Oh, and it inhibits monoamine oxidase A, so it also increases serotonin levels. So now, you gotta choose and run one of those. How do you like the new Gorilla Mode pre-workout ingredients? Do you have the changes Derek made? I haven't had time to look into it, and it takes about a month for these products to arrive. And I never took Gorilla Mode. I always took Gorilla Mode Nitric. I only take that once or twice per week. Because it makes me train too hard and then I can't recover. So I take a scoop of Gorilla Mode Nitric and I just fucking go to town and I get way too excited and then the next day I regret it so much because I'm so brain fogged. So, and the Gorilla Mode, it has caffeine, so I don't, and the video that Derek made was 4 hours, so no. I'll have to do some sort of side-by-side comparison and see the ingredients, but if he changes Gorilla Mode Nitric, I'll try it. But the regular Gorilla Mode, I never took. I never took because it has caffeine, and I drink coffee instead. So I don't want to double dip with the caffeine from the pre-workout and then coffee that I like to drink. I enjoy my coffee more than I enjoy pre-workout. So, you know, knowing Derek, he probably did a good job based on the feedback that he got over the last couple of years for Gorilla Mode, and just made some adjustments. And just made it better. So I'm sure it's better than the previous one, but I haven't had time to review what the difference is. Should one avoid taking L-carnitine while using Bemetil? No, I think it's only mildronate, not Bemetil. Mr. Steve, who was the most enjoyable guest or group chat live? Free this weekend, looking for good content to watch. The one that I did with Dr. Kirk Parsley. I really liked talking with him. I'll link it down below. And actually, the one with Dr. Adil Khan, because he kind of opened my mind for some ideas. So I'll link it both. Yeah, Kirk Parsley, I didn't really know much about him. Then one of his persons reached out, And then I did a little bit of research, and then we had a conversation, and it was very pleasant. Yeah, it seemed like a very cool guy. He doesn't do so much podcasts, but the one I did with him was very enjoyable. Only got 7,000 views, but if I can recommend one podcast that I did the last 6 months, then this would be the one to watch if you want to watch somebody new, right? And of course, the one I did with Eric Janicki was a lot of fun, right? But we all know it's all in the fitness industry, so this might be a little bit more interesting if it's outside of the fitness industry. And it should get more views. Like Eric Janicki already got 25,000 views, so he's got enough views. Give some love to Dr. Kirk Parsley. All right, we're finally through all the questions. Let's select some fun ones. What's your thoughts on Cialis pre-workouts? 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams. I have a deep dive video about it. I'll link it down below. All right, link down below. Have you done any experience with red light therapy for energy and anti-aging? No, it's not available here in Thailand, and then I would need to import it, and it's a little bit too cumbersome. So personally, I don't see a reason to use it for myself. But everybody that I know that uses red light therapy, they rave about it. So they do 5, 10, 20 minutes in the morning. And then these are usually the guys with a sauna, infrared sauna. So they do infrared at the sauna at the same time, and they do the cold plunge, and then they jump into the hyperbaric chamber. So these guys are pretty loaded, and they swear by all of it. So, yeah, it's and it's one of those walls can be kind of expensive, maybe $2,000. When I build my house in a couple of years, I'll do all of that. But for now, it's I don't have the space in this house. And you got to wait until the real estate market crashes in 2027, and then we'll get a house for COVID prices. Build something. My creatinine levels change between 1.3 to 1.5. My GFR is low. My cystatin C test comes perfectly. Every time doc says I'm destroying my kidneys. Yeah, that's what every doctor says. But my creatinine is also 1.3 and 1.5, and my cystatin C is also in range. And when they do a kidney MRI or ultrasound, is completely normal. So your doctor is a retard, just like most doctors are retarded when it comes to this subject. They don't, as soon as they finish school, they don't do any learning. That's why we have guys like myself and anybody else in the fitness industry that understands that cystatin C is the gold standard of kidney function. And if that's elevated from trenbolone or thyroid hormones or excessive water retention, or a kidney inflammation from the injectable steroids that you're taking, then we have a problem. And even then, you do a 24-hour urine collection test and compare your serum creatinine to your urinary creatinine, same with the cystatin C, to assess your glomerular filtration rate, which I just explained 1.5 hours ago, but here we are again. So if cystatin C is in range, you're fine. Does anybody talk about the effects that gear has in your heart? Yeah, I talk about it all the time. But nobody watches my videos. They just come here to the Vigorous Q&A to ask me repetitive questions. So, yeah, I talk about it all the time, man. I have videos about heart health on my YouTube channel. All you have to do is search for it. Best place in Bangkok for plastic surgery and hair transplants? I have no idea. I never looked into it. I like to be bald and ugly, so I wouldn't know. All right, you got 9 minutes left, and then I'm going to throw in the towel and send you guys to Chase. I should stop doing this for a month. Just let you use the search function. It's like literally every question that I have videos about. People are so fucking lazy. Oh my God, dude. It's unbelievable, man. I don't have time to watch 30 minutes. You're sitting here for 2.5 hours watching the Vigor's Q&A. Oh, well. How do you like IGF-1 compared to growth hormone? Less water retentive, and actually cheaper when it comes to the size that you get. So, yeah, one milligram Increlex 5 times a week is well, I'm paying. Let me see, what is it? Divided by. Yeah, 1 milligram Increlex per day is the same price as 10 IU's growth hormone per day. I would like the Increlex more. But I use 1 milligram Increlex on chest and leg day and 10 IU's growth hormone per day. Or 6 times a week. I skip it on Sunday. So when you have access to all of that compounds, just throw in both. And look old in the face. Me and my buddy Kenny will be at the Mr. Olympia. We'll be stopping at your booth. See you there. All right, man. No need to super chat for that. I'll see you there. Make sure that you bring your A game. I see your side chest is swole as fuck, so we'll definitely be hitting some shots. And then I'm looking forward to all the compliments or the comments saying, Steve, you look so much bigger in real life than you do online. That's what we do it for, right? I thought GFR was the gold standard for kidneys. The true glomerular filtration rate, yes, but that's based on serum creatinine measured against urinary creatinine alongside serum cystatin C and urinary cystatin C. So glomerular filtration rate is the actual filtration rate, and for that you need to measure serum against urine. But if you do estimated glomerular filtration rate, EGFR, just based on your creatinine, when you have an abnormal amount of muscle mass, then it's kind of, well, it just means that you have an abnormal amount of muscle mass. So, and then you see your creatine phosphokinase in the 2000s, 5000s. You're like, oh, heart failure. Creatinine 1.5, oh, kidney failure. Liver enzymes elevated to 100 units per liter, oh, liver failure, right? And so, yeah. It's I know that people get confused, but that's why we have... that's why we have guys like me to kind of guide you through the process. Alvaro, the timestamps guy. What's up, bro? Saving me so much time every single podcast and every single Vigor's Q&A. Hey, Steve, I just watched your permanent acne removal video. I wanted to ask, what other things would you consider when using Accutane? Do we train with less intensity, be on a cruise? Yeah, it's probably best to be on a cruise and just train less hard because Accutane draws out your joints, and the last thing you want is to tear tendons or at least feel compromised, you know? So I would just do the Accutane protocol, get the job done, train to maintain. Obviously, your liver enzymes will go up, so you need to be on an extensive liver health protocol with NSC, injectable glutathione, vitamin E, TATCA, right? All that good stuff, good amount of fiber in your diet. And then just run the course, get the acne removed permanently, ideally under doctor supervision. And then once that's over, then you can slowly start ramping upwards. But you have to do that slowly. It took me a while before the joint pain went away. It's brutal. Interesting, thank you. Josh, you should know this, man. You compete. You should know these things. You should know that training and abnormal amounts of muscle mass increases your creatinine, CPK, and ALT and AST enzymes. Unless you don't do blood work, which, well... Can high-dose growth hormone aggravate existing gyno? Yeah, so growth hormone can interact with the prolactin receptor, and if you have gyno that's responsive to prolactin, then higher doses of growth hormone might be able to do that. Right? We have rare instances where people take growth hormone and then they get gyno. Was that growth hormone hCG and their estrogen levels went up? Probably. A sourcing issue and a blood work issue, or an inability to do blood work because they have sourcing issues, right? Same group of people, can't source, don't want to do blood work. Oh, I got gynos from the growth hormone. No, it was hCG. But this is decades ago when they spiked undergone lab growth hormone with hCG, or just replaced the labels on the hCG files. So that could be the case. But yeah, growth hormone can interact with the prolactin receptor and then hypertrophy the signal, the tissue if estrogen and progesterone are elevated as well. Or progestogenic nitinors like nandrolone or mint are in the picture. Hey Steve, looking huge, bro. All right, here we go. Going to try Primo. Last cycle I handled 600 tests every week very well. Do you think I should keep tests at 600 and add Primo and lower test, or add Primo to have higher total milligrams? So it depends on where you're starting from now. Let's do no more super chats. No excuses, guys. This is the last super chat I answer. So if you responded well to 600 tests, why don't you try 300 tests, 300 Primo, and take it from there? You can always increase. But if you're on cruise now, if you're on 200 tests now or off cycle now, dude, I would do 200 tests and 200 Primo because you will get results. You don't need to go immediately to the previous dose. I mean, I start at a low dose and then just escalate upwards. So I started at 150, or what was it, 200, 225, yeah, 150 tests, 155 tests, and 70 milligrams Anavar per week, right? I'm still on 70 milligrams Anavar per week. So I went from 225 to 750 over 5 months. And I just continuously make progress. I went from 92 kilos to 110 kilos, significantly leaner. So start low, build your way up, and just take it from there. Thanks, Steve, for going home to get those timestamps. Yeah, and guys, if you ask me for the timestamps and it's like right finished, just give Alvaro some time. You know, give him 24 hours. It's usually done by Sunday. And again, like bitching and whining about the timestamps is just good for the algorithm, so I'm going to let you do it anyway. Dermatologist didn't want to prescribe Accutane because my CPK is 1800. Was thinking it was too low. Yeah, you need to train harder, man. What the fuck? That's baby weight. I think my CPK is like 3000 now. Oh, heart failure. And then you check your... what is it, creatine, or, creatine kinase myocardial band, and it's like fucking low. So, yeah, it is what it is. All right, guys, I'm going to throw in the towel. I hope it wasn't too moody. I try to keep it under control. Don't worry, we got how many more? One, two, three figures Q&As. And then I go to the US, and then the tremoloni sandwich is coming out, and the fluvoxamine is coming back in. And then that should be a lot more tolerable. But until now, give me this moment while I juice up for the Mr. Olympia. So at least when I walk around large and in charge, I'm having a good time. And then we go back on TRT protocol. So we'll see you then. Let's see. Anything else I need to mention? No, watch more of the videos and go enjoy Chase Irons' podcast. It will be, it should be starting now. So Chase, it's on you now to entertain these fuckers. See you guys next weekend.